Hello and welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm Brycey, and a lot of Twitch comments about my hair, so I kind of got two guys who didn't have much. Joining me here, Strongside and Onset. How are you guys?
Bald.
All right, so it's been a pretty good tournament so far. I think we've kind of got the games we all expected to go one way out of the way so far. Now this is where it gets a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I think Mike's just been down at the booth with a couple of the teams, asking them a few questions, and found out some interesting things, actually.
Yeah. So we spoke to Ironide and we spoke to Riot. So basically, Ironide has 3 players that this is their first LAN.
Yeah.
So this is going to be some good experience for them. They've had one player who's played at a LAN before, so he's kind of the leader of the team. And I talked to him a little bit about their strategy on Stronghold, and it seems like they've got it down and they're ready to go. And then on the other side, we've got Riot. Riot's ready to go. They've played, all of them have played in LANs before. 3 of them have been a team for quite some time. So they've just got their new 4th and trying to fit him in onto their squad. But they won a recent online cup, and they're ready to go.
All right, well, we'll dive into that game in just a second. But first, we've had the first 4 matches of the day. Let's catch up on the brackets and how this all stands so far. First up, Group A, as you can see, Epsilon Esports took down Ground Pound in fantastic fashion. And obviously, they are going through into the winners match. Winner of this will face them in the next game, and the loser will be facing Ground Pound in the lower bracket for elimination. And now let's go on to B. The B was the second game of the day we saw. Team Dignitas took down Potent Halo. Again, similar fashion as the first game. And they've gone through the winners. It's now going to be Rift Gaming versus One Esports. Winner of that goes to play Team Dig. The second place Potent for elimination. Moving on to Group C, which is the third match we saw not that long ago. Team Infused 2-0'd Hype Gaming. Again, a very similar story. They go all the way through. Vapirio versus Garda are going to be going up against Hyped Gaming if they lose for elimination. And the final game, the game we just saw on Group D, is going to be, as it comes up, XL Esports just took down Reformed, and that was, again, very one-sided affair. And then against Team Ambition to see who goes through to the winners match and who goes through to the elimination game. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we've seen so far today. A little bit of a catch-up there. Let's now dive into this game here. How are we expecting it to go, and what are your first thoughts?
Well, like you said, we've seen these other matches go pretty one-sided. I think this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. These games are going to be a lot closer than these last matches we've seen. So when we're talking about the rigs, strongholds, we've seen that's the strategy. You control basement and you control nest. So it's going to be about that team that gets stuck in that back corner and trying to break out from that, because from what we've seen, none of the teams that have been put on that spawn trap, they haven't been able to get out. They've been stuck in that back corner. Yeah. So they really need to work together if they get stuck there and make a push over to basement, which is kind of the normal push, and maybe send a guy over to nest to get some crossfire. But they're going to need to stay focused and keep their composure to make something happen.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the most competitive series we've seen so far. Both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, you know, around the seeds-wise as well. They're pretty evenly matched. They've had similar results in the cups building up to this, so I don't really know sort of who to pick as far as this one is. It's definitely not as clear-cut as what we've seen so far. So it's going to be some really close games. And
okay, what do you think are the keys to victory then for these two teams? I mean, you've spoken before. You just kind of went and saw the players. You went and spoke to them. And thought, what were your general feelings of how they're feeling going into this?
Well, when I talked to Ironide, I actually told them, I said, you know, guys, even though this is your first event, just keep your composure. Like, if you guys start getting stuck in that back corner, you know, work together, talk to each other, and make a slow transition push back to the inside of the map, or sorry, the outside of the map. So it's going to be about using that teamwork, using your teamwork, but not only just that, it's about keeping your composure and not getting too anxious and nervous because you're playing on the main stage against another top team.
Yeah, and I think a bit of sort of patience when if one of the teams goes down in a game, having that patience, as you say, to get out of a spawn trap and not just rush out one by one, because it can be something that happens when you're sort of a bit nervous or you want to make an impression. You get a bit overzealous and try and make plays when you don't need to. So if they show a bit of patience in whatever team goes down in the game, just take your time, get out your spawn trap, put some shots across, and re-establish some map control, then that's going to be a big key, I think. Whoever can take their time and push out as a team.
Okay, is there any key players or key kind of players you think are going to kind of not only dominate this game, but maybe for the weekend be key in them, maybe even qualifying?
Well, one of the guys on Riot is Tide. I mean, he's had some really good cups so far and some really good performances. He's played well in a lot of tournaments. As I say, they won a recent online cup, so there's some good players on this squad. So he's going to be sort of the team. He's going to be the player that's sort of the glue on the team. So he's going to be starting a lot of the fights, trying to finish off his teammates' fights as well. If he plays well, then Riot, I fancy them to take this one.
Okay, so one of the things I was told repeatedly coming into this is there are the top 4 teams, and then there's this big gulf.
Yeah.
How big is that gulf in terms of skill level?
It's pretty big. I mean, it seems like it's 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 all the way through brackets for the top 4 teams against any of these squads that we're seeing now. But at some point, someone has to make that step up to challenge into that 4th place. I mean, someone has to get into the Champions League, to use a football analogy. But if it's going to be one of these teams, it could well be. So if they stick together and they grind, then it is a big gap, but they could overcome it.
All right, well, we're going to find out whether or not they can overcome it. Guys, quick prediction, though, scoreline.
I'm going to say 2-1 Riot.
Okay,
2-1
first 2-1.
And you've just stolen my prediction, Mike, so I'm going to go 2-0 Riot.
Okay, so both pulling for Riot. So far, analyst panel has been completely correct all the way through. But let's hand it over to our wonderful casters. It's Golden Boy and Walshy. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Bryce. All right, folks, we're going to get this one started in just a little bit. Ironide versus Riot. And actually, a lot of people were, on the analyst side, were kind of rooting for Riot. I actually am the opposite. I was more leaning toward Ironide. I was really impressed with what I saw from them in the qualifications. So, you know, we'll of course, see when it all comes down to it, when the action heats up in a little bit. But Walshy, good to have you in the booth, my friend.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be out of an airplane, though.
I'm glad you decided to show up. You know, it's very nice of you. You know, over here thinking you could just walk in late. You know, just
It seemed to work just fine, though.
that's what you think. You would think that, but I made sure they docked your pay. I made sure they did.
You would
well,
do that.
also because of your email comment too. So
I forgot what I said. I say a lot of bad things about you.
You
so
do
you gotta
say a
remind
lot.
me.
That's true. You actually say a lot of mean things. I believe it was you said, "I'm going to be late, but feel free to give any of my casting time to anyone else except for Golden Boy."
Yep, I definitely said that. I'll confirm that.
You did say that, and that broke my heart.
And then I said earlier, they asked if they had time to put makeup on me. I said, all right, you can either put makeup on me or put me next to Golden Boy. One of the two, and I'm good with that. So
I actually have no comeback for that. Like I just admit what I am. You know, I'm a sweaty, bald fat man, and I'm okay with that. But not talking about sweaty, bald, fat men. Here are the series layout for this match. It's going to be opening match number 2. So we are going Rig, Strongholds, Coliseum, Slayer, Truth, CTF. What we've been seeing.
I want to see a Truth.
I do want to see a Truth. That should be a true CTF. Should be pretty fun. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect in this matchup, but Strongholds Rig will be our first matchup. And of course, we kind of talked about this, and it's beating a dead horse at this point. But essentially, you do not want to be in that BR side, right? You want to hold down this area right here, the basement, as well as the nest. Those 2 spots are the ones that you're going to want to prioritize. Let's go ahead and hop on board with Snailed It, as he's going to get the railgun to kick things off, and they're getting aggressive on this basement side. I like this so far.
I like this play. If I'm correct, I believe they all just completely, all of Riot left basement, or not basement, I mean BR base. They didn't even opt to grab that first hill because they realized how important outside is. They realized how important basement and nest is. And we're seeing right now how Snailed It has control of the railgun, hits a nice shot in the air, and is now going to be blocking these carbine spawns. So even though 2 members of Ironide have different strongholds, I would consider Riot in the driver's seat at this moment.
I would say Snailed It is 2 kills away from getting a killing spree. Oh, I spoke too fast. Hollers, his BR is going to find him for a headshot. Over to Curly. He's looking to hold this down. Knows that players could be pushing him by catwalk, and you see those 2 players approaching by nest. So typically, Walsh, what we've been seeing is a lot of these players, they get locked down on that BR side, and they just don't know what to do in the advancement, right? Of course, winning those gunfights, winning those 1v1s, and really those team-ups are going to be super important. But despite that, though, a lot of players have failed at doing that today. Good to see Riot not succumbing to that.
Yeah, it seems like in order to successfully take over the outside control, you have to push from multiple angles. Because if you just try to push from elbow, they can back down completely to carbine and wait to get help from nest. And the reverse is true. If you only push from nest side, they can just once again back down towards carbine, back down that snipe hole and stay alive.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that you're approaching it from numerous angles, because that is the thing about this map, right? Really what makes it flow so well. But a good headshot there for Hollers, looking for the double kill. He's going to be able to land that one, and now thinking about maybe going over, but finds the triple kill. Huge plays for Hollers, for Riot Gaming, as they're looking to get heated up. Can he get a 4th kill on the docket? Is this going to land for his teammate? Actually does a little damage to Josh there, but despite that though, a good run nonetheless from Riot Gaming's Hollers. I have to say, just impressive. Let's see what they're going to do though off the respawn, because despite that impressive play, they have not been able to secure a 2nd stronghold point, and they do not have camo. That is going to be in Ironide's possession.
Yeah, dude, I would be so annoying if my gamer tag was Holla, because every single time I got a kill, I would yell Holla, something like that. And so
Holla,
he's like,
holla, holla,
yeah, well, she just got a triple kill.
Oh my god, I don't think anyone here knows what we're talking about.
But one point I want to come up earlier is you were saying how when teams are pushing outside, it's so important to go from multiple angles, and I couldn't agree more. Now, one part that is important to note is that this map has different facets to it. So on one hand, yes, you want to be spread apart, and you need different angles to like kill someone over at Carbine, for example. However, there are a lot of different spots where someone like Penguin, his teammate right now, Snailed It, can push through these narrow hallways and just get, you know, just crush someone who comes around the corner.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like those 2 different styles of working with a teammate together. There's that style of I'm gonna sit back, lay down shots, and create an opportunity for my teammate to flank, and that style where you just steamroll over somebody, 2 people pushing through a narrow hallway and easily getting that double team.
Yeah, and by the way, huge play there for Riot as they were able to get that 2nd stronghold point on the board. So now they're going to start racking up some points. I agree with you, Walshy, 100%. But I think the real skill is knowing when to group up and approach and attack, and then, of course, when to spread out,
and
right?
in most cases, it's a mixture of both in order to be successful here. You're going to want to send a couple people over towards elbow so you can win that close range engagement. And then you're going to want to send people just kind of poking and prodding over at nest, trying to find any sort of weakness, and then pushing out at the right moment.
Oh, and a good play there, as a matter of fact. And looking around for it, he actually got the nade hit markers there when he tossed it forward. So he had no idea that player was there, but he almost botched that nade trying to send it to the player in front. Was able to secure that kill. Looking for another one in front now. Genius, can he seal the deal? But Master Crest is going to be there and stay otherwise. Meanwhile, tied by Ness. He's looking to get control of this one, and he does have the means to do it because they are going to be spawning by that BR base potentially.
I was curious if he was going to jump up on that side ledge. One thing I've seen the American player Snipe Down do multiple times is when he has camo especially, is when he's up in nest, he jumps over to the top ledge because you can still actually capture and contest from that area that's, you know, close to 5 or 10 meters above the air. Above the stronghold.
You can also get on top of the objective, right? Was that what you were referring to, the objective?
Actually, in a lot of cases, you can jump off the objective and jump over to another side ledge, so you're completely away from all these grenades.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos and all that. I think like Beyond Quick Tips had one that I thought was like, oh, that's actually pretty smart. But yeah, good double kill there, despite that, for Tide, as Riot Gaming looking to close this gap, and they do so, taking the lead. Ironide were in the driver's seat for a good portion of it, but now it's going to be Riot's turn to shine here. Can they continue to maintain this control? They need to be able to pin down these players in the BR side in order for them to do so. That's going to be a double kill for Hollers, and that scatter shot on Crescent Curly. Looking around over to the nest. He's going to have a teammate there for the connection. That's going to be an assist and a kill for Hollers as well. And they are continuing to rack on those points. Railgun should be up in a little bit. They have to be aware of that.
Yeah. That's one of the redeeming factors of spawning inside, is that you can eventually get that railgun and try to make a push, and you know, it's one of the only opportunities where you can get that quick, easy pick, you know, especially across the map. Because there is no sniper on strongholds here on Rig. It's quite different on Team Slayer when that sniper comes into play. But here you need to use that railgun, and most importantly, if you do die with it on your side. Give it to one of your teammates so that the other squad outside doesn't have the absolute perfect outside setup.
You know what's the part that's kind of confusing me here is that Ironide were able to push up on basement from tower, and that actually left one of the Riot guys by themselves in long haul. And I'm really wondering why that was. I would have expected a body to be there to make sure that no one was getting aggressive, or at least making the call out so that the support could come to him. What a shot from Snailed It, who finds one, can't quite get the second though, as Riot Gaming are looking to seal this one all up. They have 76 to the 61 of Ironide. Pressure is going to be potentially coming from tower side. There you can see Crest as Genius looking to get this shot down, and he does so. Actually, Tide will be there. That's an assist for Genius, and this is what I like, right? Just holding down this area here, just being cautious of the fact that you can have players that have pushed up and get aggressive on this tower side, because you know that's going to be where they want to prioritize, and utilizing your crouch expertly, and of course, just continuing to bait them right into it.
Just do as much damage as possible there. I think you'd see other players in that situation maybe try to get like a desperate grenade or try to like thrust and get a 5-shot or whatever, but
yeah,
I like what Ty did there. He just got the melee, a couple shots melee and made that player one shot who was easily able to be cleaned up by his teammate. And I think that was Hala who got the kill.
And here's Malzy looking to seal this one, close it, I should say. 95 to 63 is the score with plenty of time left. Folks, this is pretty much going to be all she wrote here, unless you could see a miracle come out of Ironide. But it was a hard-fought battle. But once Riot got that lead, they never looked back. Snailed it with the double, and that's going to be 99 points. One more on the board, and Riot gets their Game 1 victory, folks. Not just yet, because it seems like Ironide have control of basement, but now you have 3 members stacking up.
I think I see all 4 members in the basement
Just go for it, man. Just go for it. Huge win there for Riot, as they're going to be able to take game number 1.
Great plays. I really especially like the starting strat that they had there. I think we even see plenty of pro teams in the North American scene actually sit back and go for the BR base off the start. Instead, what they opted to do was push towards outside. They were able to get control of that much faster and had a much higher chance of actually taking control of it because they had 1 extra member with them.
Yeah, and Curly on the other side actually coming out with 14 kills and I think like 13 deaths or something like that. Wasn't entirely certain what I saw there. Hollers though, I mean, Hollers had a 20+ kill performance in that game. Holla. Holding it down, holding it down. But no, overall though, strong performance from both teams. I think that, the one play I got to turn to is the play by Long Haul. I'm not entirely certain who on Riot was there. I think, or excuse me, who from Ironide was there. But that's kind of just like where things started to go south for them. They just couldn't hold their positions down toward like the midpoint of that game. Got really slay focused. I started to notice like a lot of people chasing after kills. But despite that, though, I mean, I don't think Ironide is anything really to be negative about on that one. It still was a great matchup.
Yeah, and also to your point, it seemed like Ironide didn't press their advantages. So there are a lot of times where it's okay to like sit back when you have that kind of ultimate setup, but you almost want to make the opponents work for every inch of ground they can. And one thing I saw from a player like Tide, he was kind of like doing laps after a while. Like he got a kill over by Nest, went over towards Snipe Hall, dropped down to basement, got that double kill, reset basement, and kind of did these loops. Whereas it seemed like Ironide were just static. They weren't moving out. They were just like, all right, well, now we have our setup. We let them initiate the action. And I feel like in a game like Halo, the team that initiates the action is going to win that engagement the majority of the time because they're playing their game plan. They're obviously making a move because they have multiple members there. So instead of reacting to the opponent's moves, they're actually forcing the action. So that's at least what I feel like happens most of the time within Halo, is the team that is making a push together or initiating the action is the successful one.
When you're the initiator, you're essentially the one who's in control, right?
Yep.
So you're the one who's dictating where that action is going to go through. You're basically telling the other team, hey, we're choosing to engage with you right now. You just have to deal with it. Yeah. Or the other team then needs to say, all right, we have to respond.
And actually, it goes both ways because there are a lot of times where you're the initiator and you are in control. But I felt like Ironide, there were a couple times where they had control of the map. They had Nest, they had Basement, they had all 4 members alive. But they were the passive team. They weren't initiating at all. They weren't trying to take over where Railgun was. They weren't trying to push toward top hall. They were letting Riot come to them. And so that kind of, goes to prove true. And of course, we can go through millions of hypotheticals where it's it's like, when passiveness does pay off, but it just seemed like Ironide, when they were aggressive and they were pushing together, they were seeing much more success. So we're going to have to see if they can change it up during this next matchup.
Well, they're going to have to. I mean, this is going to be a Team Slayer coming up here on Coliseum. Loser of this one will go down to face off. I believe it's going to be against Ground Pound because this is going to be Group A action. Or Group 1 action, apologies. So, yes, this is going to be a tough one. Riot Gaming, though, coming on top. If you're just joining us, folks, it's looking good so far for both teams. That was one of the most competitive matches that we've seen today. Of course, you know, the top 4 teams here in this competition, Epsilon, Infuse, Dignitas, and Excel, have shown that why they are the top 4. They've shown why they're here and why they are considered to be
That's why I actually
finest.
enjoy a lot of these earlier matchups on like a Friday or a Saturday, because it actually shows how big the skill and teamwork gap is in Halo. Because you look at some of these teams, you know, we're talking top 16 teams here, like in the Europe scene, and some of these top teams, like first or second place, are just absolutely demolishing the 15/16 seeds. But as I'm talking, we are jumping on board with Malzy from Riot Gaming. He's going to try to help go get this sniper rifle at the start.
Yeah, and they do not get that rocket. So he needs, that's the thing, right? What do you look at right now? Do you look at the BR, or I mean, excuse me, the rocket or the sniper? And luckily for him, he was able to get that kill on Curly, but he needs to be cautious about this player coming up on him. And that was actually Penguin, who just showed himself right in front of Malzy. Not much he could do, but yeah, that's just like a tough one, right? Do you look at the nice shot from Genius? Look at his face. Hey, you got to follow that up, brother. You know, but still, you know, that was a tough play there for sure for Malzy.
No, so originally you're asking what to do off the start. I believe you have to more so worry about sniper. The way I look at it on this map is, for example, if you have sniper control and the other team is over on rocket side, you can kill them. Whereas the reverse isn't quite so true. If you get rockets immediately, unless you push down towards bottom side of the map and get a little bit closer towards sniper side, you can effectively use those rockets immediately.
Yeah,
and that's why I feel like that sniper catwalk is the most crucial the most crucial piece, I would say, on this entire map almost, especially off the beginning, where you're pretty much guaranteed to get control sniper and at least have an eye on where rockets are, or even deny rockets from the opponent.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind, and this, of course, my opinion is that with the sniper, you know, the reason why you would prioritize that is not only with the rockets, it's easy to be like, okay, you know, we're going to get, you know, a couple kills with this, maybe 2, right? Maybe 2 kills on average. But with a sniper, what that does, it does so much more, right? It allows you to lock down a map. It allows you to control an entire side and not allow anyone to push up. Those are the reasons why you want to prioritize a weapon like that, because it does more for the long term rather than gaining you 2 short kills.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your latter point the most, because as you said, the rockets, they're a threat within a small proximity. You know, whether that rocket's over at red base, whether the rockets are at blue base, like, only players in that area need to be worried about that power weapon. When you have sniper, if you have sniper at red base, guess what? You're threatened whether you're at red base, blue base, over at rockets. You're threatened across the entire map, and that's just what sniper brings to the map.
Genius has the rockets right now. We'll see what he could do with this one. Man, he just ate that one. Snailed it, could not stay alive. Good battle rifle there, so he's looking to use this one as much as he could possibly make do of here. Finds one, but botches on that rocket a little bit to the left. Hits the ledge right in front of him.
I mean, there's the only chance I might get to do this, but nice rocket, Genius.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Okay.
But yeah, so I like this play right away with bringing rockets in from the front bridge. A lot of players might think that's a vulnerable position where it's like you're on the front bridge, but the whole point that these top pros are doing is they're bringing rockets or pushing up on the bridge in a situation where they had the enemy team spawned on that base.
You have to do it only when you pin them.
Yeah, it's just that other angle that you can get to push in towards blue base. And I just like, I like that play by Genius there, pushing in and helping his team get this lead. But as I say that, they are now down to a 3-kill lead only, when I believe they're up to about 5 when they had those original rockets.
Really close matchup here between both teams. You have Genius finding Snailed It, and just good use of that you know, thruster to get out of dodge, but cannot survive that melee from Penguin. 1 kill will separate these 2 squads. Over to Malzy, has that DMR, and he knows he's getting shot from green side. Does he, you know, challenge this one? But he has to call for some help. He needs assistance from his teammates. That's exactly what he's getting here. But still, staying alive is going to be the most important thing. It's going to be Sniper up top. Great DMR out of Malzy as he pushes forward and prioritizes that sniper rifle, potentially going for a triple kill. No, he cannot land it. Unfortunate for him, but he does leave Curly one shot. 22-20 is the score with Riot in the lead.
Yes, and that was a great job. I like the fact that Malzy, he did,
Oh.
wow, and they just were begging for that rocket. Double kill rocket for tied there. And another brilliant rocket. Those are some of the rockets where, like, I think I hesitate just for that split second and don't get the hit on someone who is up over at, like, the sniper spawn. But the point I was getting to earlier was Malzy did such a good job helping secure that sniper side of the map because he focused over on that top sniper ridge. You notice how he got the kills. And he didn't just immediately sprint over, try to grab that sniper rifle. Instead, he killed the surrounding players and got the double kill and did the damage on that third player.
Let's see what Tide is going to do here with this SMG. Finds one. Member of Ironide is going to be Crest, but Crest gets a double. Picks off Malzy and Tide. Hollers, though, nails off, snailed it. Just takes a long time to get used to, especially with the jet lag. But you'll get used to it over time, they say. Penguin, though, not able to stay up. One thing that was noted before was that, and we haven't really seen much of it yet, you know, when I was actually looking at a lot of these players, and of course asking Wonderboy and Onset, who have familiarity casting these players, was that Penguin's snipe is really good, you know, really impressive. He's definitely a player to watch. And the fact that this Riot team actually has 3 members who've been, you know, I didn't get to ask who it was, but 3 members who've been teammates for quite some time. So, you know, they're experienced. They have, this isn't like a new thing for them. Meanwhile, on the Riot side, this is a first land for 3 players on this squad. So, again, lots of pressure, especially when you're talking about moving forward in this competition and also one step closer to competing for that $2.5 million prize pool at the Halo World Championship.
Yeah, and most importantly, too, when this is their first LAN, like you said, their first time competing in the LAN environment, it's really important that they stick to how they practiced before, because you see a lot of players, especially players that are new to their very first tournament, kind of switching up their plays, like either challenging more or challenging less, and just switching up. And the most successful teams are the ones that play in tournament the same way that they practiced online.
And another thing I want to just point out here, Walshy.
We were a 1-kill game not too long ago.
Yeah, I know. It was a close matchup. That sniper rifle from Genius up top locked down that elbow side, not allowing the red team to advance forward and get the rockets. And because of that, full power weapon control here for Riot, and just the angles that he's getting. Although he's not nailing the shots, though, that's the part. He needs to hit those shots. If you're going to pick up that sniper, you need to make those plays.
Execution is very important, but also even more important is that Genius was looking in the most crucial positions. I talked about how important Sniper Bridge was before, and when Genius was back down towards his cave, you saw the first spot he was looking at. He was auto-stabilizing and looking over at the top
that guy
sniper
just came
bridge.
off a respawn, man. That's not fair.
Yeah, you gotta give him a few seconds, man. Come on, 5 seconds, no rush.
5-second rule. That's not fair. That's not. But anyway, 3 kills here for Riot. I thought that we'd potentially go to a game 3 here and see that Truth CTF, but Riot is, you know, they had other plans. They wanted to join the 2-0 club here at, you know, the UK qualifying championship.
I was just going to say, this is not a result you expected. You asked me when it was 20-19, you think the score is going to be almost a stake? No, absolutely not. And just Riot showing what they can do when they get control and when they're in a comfortable zone. And looks like, again, they have all the members of Ironide spawn over at Blue Base. Genius pick up the last kill to close out that game 50-34.
Solid performance there from Genius and the crew as they lock this down, moving on to the next round where they will face off against Epsilon. That's going to be some awesome matches in Group 1 that we will see tomorrow.
Look at those assists.
Oh, wow.
17
assists for Hollers.
39 assists for that full squad.
That's insane. I was going to write down that stat, but game's over. But even then, though, I will hold on to it for future knowledge. But yeah, so again, impressive from Riot. You know what? I have to say, Onset got one right. He actually guessed something correctly. I never thought this day would come. I've been watching a lot of the UK stuff, and Onset just literally gets everything wrong. He's a curse. He's a curse. It's the Onset curse. I don't know if you know about this.
I had not known
Okay,
about
so
this.
Basically, whatever team he says is going to win, the opposite happens every time. So Epsilon was like crushing it, right? Just absolutely dominating it. So the third cup, Onset says, you know what? I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win the cup. Epsilon loses. He stops going for Epsilon. They win the next one. It's like with this guy, he just has the worst luck in the world.
I thought he was trying to be nice to me earlier because I was trying to get back to the hotel. He's like, "Here, you don't have an international phone. You can borrow my phone. Use use Uber."
You're cursed.
He was
now.
trying to curse.
No, you're cursed.
How
Stay
could he
away
do
from
that?
Me. Stay away from me. For multiple other reasons. Odor is one of them. All right, people, we're going to go over to the analysts. You have no time to come back and find out what they think about that 2-0 victory from Riot. Bryce, you take it away, brother.
Well, thank you very much there. Yes, Onset finally got something right.
Oh, that's nice. I've never had this feeling before. It's a wonderful feeling. The curse is lifted, Mike, as you
gone.
said.
The curse is broken. I wonder who the curse went to. Maybe Golden Boy.
Oh, that's
Maybe Golden Boy. Okay, let's get you kind of your first thoughts about how that all went down here. I mean, we could have seen a game 3, wasn't to be.
Yeah, honestly, I was actually impressed with Ironide, though. They hung in there at the start of both matches. And actually, even in the Strongholds match, they played really well. They made their pushes out from the corner, and they retook control of basement and nest. The only thing they couldn't do was just keep that under control. And I think Golden Boy and Walsh touched on this a little bit. Basically, they played too passive. They didn't put any pressure on the players spawning in that back corner. They were letting them push out way too far, and they allowed them to get too much yardage over to the other strongholds. But there's a couple times I think I noted down, I saw Penguin had scatter shot in long haul, and he ended up overextending a little too much and lost the scatter shot. If he would have played a little bit more passive in that situation, that probably would have kept them alive a little bit longer. But when you're putting that pressure on the players in the corner, it's like you want to have a few shots. Like you're peak shooting, you put 1-2 shots, and then you back up, and then you let a teammate finish them, or you just back up and let them keep sitting back, and you're gaining more stronghold time. So, but I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I think when you're trapping them in the base, it's so important not to overextend and try and push in for the kills, because you don't actually have to kill them on a stronghold game. All you're trying to do is contain the other team in that spawn, and then you're going to rack up time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, let's jump into the interview with the player. It's Hollers. Josh, over to you.
Thanks, Bryce. Hollers, the underdog team in this matchup. Obviously, you guys pulled away a little bit towards the middle of the strongholds, but tell us about ultimately how you did it.
Well, our coach was just timing the camos well for us, so we got all the camos pretty much, and we just pushed together. Really, that's what like separated us from them. We just pushed together and captured together.
So you guys have only been a team for about 2 weeks, obviously, going into this tournament, also the most prestigious tournament of the Halo 5 season so far. Is it, how's the pressure? Is it helping you? Is it facilitating you guys to play better, being online and whatnot?
Yeah, I think some of us struggle to get kills online. It's just like it's hard to get kills online sometimes, and we all got quite a lot more kills there. But I just think we get on well, so that's what helps us, to be honest.
And do you guys really stand a chance against the Big Four?
Well, it's best of threes up until the semi-finals, so anything can happen in the best of 3.
All right. So on the Slayer, just tell us a little bit about how you guys, manage it through.
So when we get the power weapons, and then we'll kill them, and we'll leave somewhere open, so you kind of know where they're going to spawn, and then you'll kill them there, and then it's quite easy to predict the spawns.
All right. Well, thank you, Hollers. Brycey, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, anything could happen. What do you guys make of that?
Yeah, honestly, from both of those matches, we saw great gameplay from both the teams. Something that I wanted to personally highlight on was the genius sniper. I mean, he didn't even realize he sniped the guy. You saw in the little webcam, he's over there just like, what just happened? There's no way.
He lost his mind. He's like, did I just do that? Did I just wreck that guy?
He looked away. He was like looking around at his teammates like, did you guys see that? Like, what just happened? But that was an incredible play by him, and I'd like to touch on Snailed It as well.
Yeah.
Individually, incredible shots from both games. You saw him just perfect shotting other players when he's weak, about half shields, and he's just hitting those shots at the right times, making those clutch kills. And those are the types of players you want on your team. Someone that's going to pull off that crazy play. Someone that's going to come clutch in those moments, get that crazy kill, double kill, triple kill, or whatever it may be. And he's that type of player.
And for me, what makes it even more impressive, as you said, this is his first LAN tournament. This is his first tournament experience. So
that's crazy.
If you can come into an environment like this with a pressurized situation, with something you're not used to, the setup, everything around you, and you perfect everyone, I mean, that can only bode well for the future.
Definitely.
So it was actually quite close between these two squads for quite a while. Where and why did Riot sort of run away with it?
I'd say with the Coliseum Slayer match, it came down to the power weapons. You saw Riot get control of the sniper rifle. You saw them kind of hang back in the cave. I think it was Genius sitting back with the sniper rifle, but they had power weapon control, and that's what really hurt the other team. So you saw Walsh even mentioned the game was like 21 to what was it, 21 to 25.
I think it was like a 2-kill game or something. Yeah,
extremely close, and then it ended up turning into kind of a blowout towards the end there. They didn't allow them to get any kills, really. They just stayed alive, picked off a few kills, and then would hang back and get the power weapons, and just they played it really smart, very strategic.
The one thing about power weapons is we talk about power weapon control, and it's having the power. You don't have to hit all the shots. Like, as we saw with Genius, he was in that cave, but him scoping in on those areas, those power positions up on the top of the snipe, it makes the other team so aware that they can't push in just running around, like, because they're going to get picked off eventually. It's all about controlling them and keeping them out of the hands of the opposition. If you can do that, you can lock down areas of the map without even hitting your shots. So good job from them, and that's where the game changes. It's Coliseum, we've said power weapons every single time, but that was the perfect example of it.
Well, jumping fully into that second map then, who do you think was the most valuable player on that map?
Honestly, I'm going to have to go with Genius, because he was getting the sniper rifles, and like Onset was saying, even though he wasn't hitting every shot with the sniper rifle, he was just keeping it out of the hands of the enemy team, and he did a great job of staying over by the sniper rifle area. He stayed on that side of the map. You normally don't want to control the rocket side of the map just because it's so open, you don't have much cover. There's a lot of places over by the sniper rifle where you can kind of dipsy-doodle your way in and out of everything. It's so much cover. It's like a little maze you can get away in. And then if you got your teammates there, it's easy to run back to your teammates and then stay alive and get the support from them.
You know, one player that I saw that was the man who was down getting interviewed a minute ago, the fan favorite, who had the little cheers that went out for Hollis. Big fan of that. But he picked up 17 assists in that Slayer game at the end. I think he had only 5 kills. But if you're assisting that many kills, then you are doing a great job in a Slayer for your team. So that sort of thing, I love assists. Like I always used to fall back on the fact that I'd go negative because I had more assists than everyone. So I'm a big fan of assists. So Hollis, you did a great job.
All right. So what could Ironide kind of do to improve them? What were they doing wrong that kind of weren't allowing them to take those key positions?
I'd say, are we talking about Coliseum Slayer?
Yes, yeah, we are. We're
still with Coliseum Slayer. I'd say, yeah, just staying on. They were too much on the other side of the map. Yeah. They needed to gain control of the bridge, the sniper rifle, and they didn't do that. They'd push over maybe 1 or 2 by themselves. There was a few situations where I saw Snailed It and another teammate. They kind of just pushed in by themselves into 4 players from Riot. So it's like, that's not going to be a good outcome, pushing 2 into 4. You need your whole team to have that big wave of players to go up against the other team.
And another thing, if you're aware of the opposition having control of both power weapons, you have to try and slow the game down a bit. Because if you're just going to keep charging them, you're not going to win the battles. You're going up against someone with a rocket launcher. You're going up against someone with a sniper rifle. You're not going to be... you got to try and sort of trade a kill, try and get a power weapon out of the control of the other team, and then sort of reform and start a push from there.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for kind of breaking that down for everyone at home. Coming up next, Rift versus One Gaming just after the break. Don't go anywhere.